Diamond, and you tune into U3 Underground, Unsigned, and Unknown. And we have a very special guest in the building, Natasha Shantel.
Yes, Natasha Shantel, it's me. Hey, hey.
How you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. Just laid back, been trying to get some things done. And so I said, let me knock some things out of the way before this interview. So I was trying to be productive today. So we're good.
That's always good when you have a productive day. I think.
Trying. When you come into that new year, everybody comes into that new year with this blueprint
Oh
or
yeah,
plans and things they want to accomplish. So I got a few things that I'm trying to like really stick on. One of them being losing some of this COVID weight and stuff like that. So I've been trying to make sure I get my workouts in and get my auditions in and all of that good stuff.
do you have any New Year's resolutions as far as your acting
As far as my acting, you said,
and music career? Yes, ma'am.
um, okay, what she call me, ma'am. Well, I usually don't make New Year's resolution. I know you made me feel real old for a minute, but no, I usually don't make New Year's resolutions. I usually just try to like make sure I'm staying productive all year because I feel like we don't have to necessarily wait to the beginning of the year to implement change. But I do look at the new year as a fresh beginning, like starting a new chapter where you can evaluate how things went last year and stuff like that. But as far as some goals and things that I have for this year, one of the things is for my acting is I'm currently not represented. So I'm trying to get representation so I can get those bigger roles and just like make sure I really put myself out there because I transitioned. So I've been here in Atlanta for it's been about 6 months. So just trying to make sure I get myself out there, get representation, make sure I'm like staying on top of my game, whether that's take classes or just always be growing, always be putting myself out there, making sure I'm auditioning, putting myself out there to get new roles and things like that, just really doing the work. It's a grind. Like when you do anything in entertainment, you don't have a set route. You just got to make sure you get it, and it is what it is. You do your part. And I just feel like, God will meet you with what we do. A lot of times we pray or we want things, but it's like, are you doing your part? You can't expect it to fall out the sky. So long as I do my part, I believe that God, will meet me and the rest of it and meet me, with me showing that I really want it or that I really do believe. So yeah.
I agree with you. I agree with that. How has your experience been since you've been in Atlanta?
How's my you kind of breaking up just a little bit.
How have your experience been since you've been in Atlanta?
It's been really good for me, honestly. I lived in LA for 3 years, so I kind of compare and contrast. I can kind of look at the differences for me, but I don't have any complaints.
Yeah,
I feel like once I really started doing my part to put myself out there, I feel like things started opening up. But I know that you can't wait for it to come to you. So I sat down, I was like, okay, let me make a profile and let me put my pictures out there. Let me start applying and stuff. And then, things start opening up pretty quickly for me once I started doing that. So I was grateful for that. But it's been a good experience for me. I've mostly been focusing on the acting and just trying to because first of all, can we just put it out there? COVID made everything real weird for everybody. So just the simple fact that
yeah,
everything was shut down for so long, I think that being here helped me transitioning to Atlanta kind of helped because it's always something being shot here because of all the studios now and all of the projects. So people have been responding really well to me. I think for me, it's just, you at this level, but you know where you want to go. And I'm trying to go here. So it's like, okay, what do I need to do
yeah.
to get where I'm trying to go? So that's where I'm at. But the background experiences helped me. You know, I done spent time in Chicago, I done spent time in LA, and some of this stuff, like, you look and you see, oh, okay, this helped me. So now I know how to do this because I had already been here and done that and experienced this. So it's a lot of things. It's just step by step, brick by brick. And that's how I see it. But it's been love since I've been here. Just trying to make sure I stay on it and do my part, stay diligent.
Now, I know the music scene in LA or California is different from Atlanta.
Yeah,
You feel like is the
yeah.
biggest change when you move to Atlanta for the music scene?
Well, to be honest, it's so crazy because when I was in LA, although I do, because I sent you some stuff, like, although I do music, that wasn't really my focus, even when I was in LA. Music wasn't my focus. I went on some auditions and things like that, but I was focusing more on the acting, although music is like one of my first loves. Um, I think for me, it's like you do it when you have multi-faceted gifts like myself, because it's like, acting, comedy, music. For me, it's like you do what bites. I mean, you're always prepared, but
Yeah,
you flow with what's opening for you, you know? So with the music, I did go on some really big auditions when I was in LA, but I really wasn't focused on that because I was getting so many open doors and commercials and TV pilots and stuff like that. So it was like, okay, I love music. I'm always singing. Like, I was always singing, always posting music videos and things like that. But literally a lady stopped me at a conference, and it was an entertainment conference in LA, and she pulled me to the side and she was praying for me. She was like, you gotta, she was like, I'm seeing music notes, girl. You got a music gift. And so that kind of refocused me to get back in the studio and to start writing again, because I had really set the music down. Because I'm like, well, if they booking me on
yeah,
commercials and we shooting pilots and they showing me that they want me in TV right now, then I feel like once you get your foot in a door, then you can expose the rest of everything else that comes with you. So yeah, but even
yeah.
here in Atlanta, I haven't really been pushing the music like that. It's like I was kind of preparing in such a way to have music and to have videos towards, like, if I come across somebody, then it's like you can present, oh yeah, I do this too. So I wasn't really pushing it at the time, like, oh yeah, I'm this artist with this big reveal and this is my big debut, because we were in COVID when I started releasing stuff. So it was just kind of like, okay, well, let me be preparing and using this time wisely. Although I do want to
Yeah.
release some things this year further musically. At the time, I wasn't like, yeah, I'm coming out like like that. No.
Well, you mentioned COVID. I know COVID stopped a lot of things, shut down everything. How did it
Mhm.
prepare you for your next step, especially since you do like say your music?
It actually helped. Yeah, it helped because you have time. We had all this downtime to be creative. You know what I mean? It's like we're shut down, we're in the house, you got time to write, you got time to think, you got time to just sit still. Because a lot of times, man, you can get caught up in the hustle of auditions, that, gotta be here, gotta be there, gotta do this, gotta do that. But when we were all made to sit down, it's like, okay, you have all this time to
Yeah,
deal with yourself, to write, to create, to reflect on those past experiences that you had. And so that's what I started doing. Like, I created my podcast in COVID. I released both of those singles during COVID. So for me, it was like, I'm gonna use this time to build. I'm gonna use this time to, uh, prepare for when things open back up. So that's kind of how I saw it. And I feel like it kind of leveled the playing ground too, because it's like everybody was in the same position. A lot of things were
yeah,
shut down. And even still, a lot of things have changed. A lot of things have changed. Like, even like with TV, how they're releasing shows and everything's on Netflix and everything just is going straight to TV now. Like, it's a lot of opportunity in this time
Yeah.
if you use it right. It's a lot of opportunity. You can get your stuff done. You can get your stuff out there too. So that's kind of how I looked at it. And I did some writing, did some recording, and still recording and still trying to get some things released this year to kind of push the other stuff like the music and things that have been on the background and on the back burner. But man, this was a time for everybody to kind of level up, I feel like. you know, be creative, prepare, birth some businesses. I birthed a business. I just thought about that. I'm like, man, yeah. So I birthed a business and was writing and all these creative ideas I still got that it's like, okay, you got to do this year. I want to do this. I want to release my book. it's so much. I'm like, I got so much inside of me. I don't want to just like sit on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you was pretty busy during the pandemic.
Kind of because it's like we had so you said during COVID or just now? You kind of you're freezing on me a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yes, you were busy during the COVID, which is good because, like you said, it gave us an even playing field. So we had nothing to do but to, podcast. What's the name of your podcast, and what do y'all talk about on it?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked. Thank you. So my podcast is called the Honey and Loki's podcast. So really what we do is it's a safe space for creatives, for innovators, artists, business owners, whoever, those who think out of the box, um, color outside of the lines. But it's also a place for people who are grounded like in their faith in that. So if you have like a faith background, and even if you don't, you can still relate because the way I'm talking about everything in culture and just applying it um to like how it fits us, how we fit in society as people that like are taking the untraditional
Yeah.
route. But yeah, you still have a faith background. So for me, this was my way of saying like, okay, I always felt like I never fit in the church because I wasn't churchy enough, even though I love God.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, at the same time, I have a standard, so I don't always exactly fit in over here, with certain things. Like I'm like, nah, I try to keep it positive. I'm not really all with the drama and all that stuff. So it was like, okay, this is a space where I feel like I can fit and I don't have to worry about this. And I know there's other people like me, or it's like, okay, well, this ain't really my lane over here, and I probably don't fit in nobody's pulpit or nothing like that. But at the same time, I'm still trying to uplift people, still trying to spread love, still trying to be positive. And I'm not always going to come at you like that. And so I want to be able to reach
Yeah.
people from all walks of life. You know what I mean? Like, even with my music, like, I'm like, okay, I want to talk about life. I want to talk about love, but you still going to get something that resonates with you that you can take with you. Like, oh, okay, I feel like this fed me in some type of way, or I can like rock with this. And this is like not something that I'm going to feel ashamed of because I have this thing with youth and arts advocacy, and I don't ever want. I feel like to lead those kids that are coming behind me astray. And so I try to be careful with what I release out there in
Yeah.
in the atmosphere. Like it's like okay, kids really are watching us and paying attention to what we do. So I want to be able to say, hey, this is something, and I want you to look at this or consider like the route that I took. So yeah.
What's important like you created for your podcast?
You said, what did I? You kind of,
Why is it
I know,
important for creators like you created on your podcast?
man, I feel like we don't have a lot of that. We don't have a lot of content like that, you know? I know, and first of all, let me say this. So I've crossed a lot of paths with a lot of entertainers too. And there are a lot of entertainers that I feel like have been hurt by the church or they
Yes.
were misunderstood by the church. And it's like, yo, they had a gift and it's God given, but you didn't know what to do with it, or you didn't like that they didn't fit in your box. So we try to say that stuff is not God just because it's different. And it's like, look, God is everywhere. You know, God is everywhere. He has people in all types of arenas. And I know because I've met them, I've talked to them, and some of them, you know,
Yes.
I have even like talked to behind the scenes. So it's like I know, like a lot of these people, we don't know their story. We don't know what their walk is, and society can be so judgmental. Some of it I think is, you know, I was gonna say some of it I think is jealousy. You know, sometimes we don't know how to deal with other people's success, but I've just that touched me. It's like, okay, I've always had a heart and a compassion for influencers, entertainers, people that are out in the open. Why? Because that's part of my calling too. So it's like I'm compassionate. I feel what they feel. I see what they see. I know that we don't always we see God differently, we hear God differently. I can get a whole word from a movie that ain't got nothing to do with church, you know? And so or I could hear a song, or I'm like, oh my God, I hear God all up in that love song. And that's just how my mind thinks. Like, I want to see God in everything because God is
Yeah.
everywhere. So if you tell me that I can only see God or hear God at church, I'm like, you don't have a real relationship. And so I'm think that's how God wanted us to experience it. Church is important. I'm not bashing fellowship, but like church is not necessarily the building, it's us. So I just want to live my life like that. And so even when I cross paths or have crossed paths for people, um, who get it, it's like once you come across people that just get it, it's like you too, yeah, you too. So that was why it was important for me to create the Honey and Locust podcast because you know we want to be uplifted too. We want to know, oh, you get it, like, oh, okay, yeah, it wasn't just you. Oh, you've been misunderstood by the church too, okay, but you still love God. Oh, okay, yeah. So it was like that when I made that. A lot of the stuff that we create comes from stuff we felt like we needed and maybe didn't have. So that was my influence behind that. Yeah.
You are in the up and coming movie that's coming soon this year, Unexpected.
Yeah.
How did you get it? I don't know if you heard me. I probably broke up. But how did you get to be a part of that movie?
So how did I come across that? Somebody had okay, so I'm on this. I'm like, how did that happen for me? So I was on this casting site. And it's funny because a lot of the different casts, like another person found it and somebody had posted it on Instagram. I found it on a casting site that I have been using. And I applied. And I was like, okay, well, we'll see what happens. And that was like one of the first like roles that I had applied to since I had started like getting back into things since I've been in Atlanta. So it was kind of crazy because like when he hit me back, like I was like, oh, I got a I got an audition. Okay. And then it happened like that. But for each of us, it was different. They didn't even know that it had been posted on Instagram. They didn't even know that somebody posted it on the casting site. So it was crazy. So even when they were the casting, you know, and the writer and the director, he's like, oh, somebody posted it on the casting site. I'm like, yeah, that's how I applied. And then he was like, oh, to another girl who was in the movie. He's like, somebody posted it on Instagram. That's crazy. So I feel like everything just kind of like aligned itself, and that's how I came
Yeah.
across it. Auditioned with them. He said he really liked what I did, and he was like, okay. But initially, I auditioned for a different role than the role that um that I'm playing. So I'm playing Brittany, but it's funny because Brittany is really like me in real life. So I was like, it worked out perfectly. I'm like, yeah, Brittany is me. So it worked really well.
Well, that's good that it worked out really well. Unexpected will be dropping.
Yeah.
Go ahead and check it out. We have the trailer out now. You can check it out on the FOH Productions Instagram page. So go ahead and one of our viewers, D Live at 5, and he wants to know
Was I
was you
nervous?
nervous at audition? Because the audition process, I knew it was through Zoom, correct? It
Yeah.
wasn't in person.
Not really, because he made it. They made it so laid
Doesn't
back.
hold it.
Blake is so laid back, so he was just like, let me see what you would do. So he didn't dictate lines or anything for me. He really just kind
So
of
for
made
people
it.
who do not know, go ahead.
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah, he just was like he let me improv. So I
No,
didn't
no,
have
no.
any lines. It was just like, what would you do if this was? What would you say? So it was so relaxed. I was like, oh, okay. And so you never really know what they think because a lot of times they just kind of like poker face. And then I heard back. So I was like, oh, okay. It was really laid back. And that was good for me.
Yeah. For people who do not know, the audition process wasn't like normal auditioning process. They did not said they let you do you. So I feel like that's kind of cool. I wish more audition processes was like that. But they just said you
Yeah.
do you instead of just
That
being
really laid back, period.
Now, you are a comedian too. So are there any female comedians that you look up to kind of help you keep going as a comedian?
Female comedians. I just kind of love comedy in general. Of course, I always love to see women going forth. That's why I was excited when you reached out. I was like, okay, I see another. We got a female DJ out here. Like, I get excited when I just see women, period, because sometimes we all know what it is for women. It can be
Yes.
in male dominated industries. It takes a certain type of tenacity, and it takes, I feel like, a certain type of woman to just even pursue anything in entertainment, period. So I'm always encouraged, but just by seeing women go forth, period. But I just want you to know, I was that little girl that would stay up, or I would stay up and ask my mom when Comic View was out on BET. Like I knew all the comedians on Comic View. Like I would ask to go to comedy shows. Like I was that little girl. I didn't really ask
Yeah.
for toys. My mom would tell you I would ask to go to comedy shows, plays, and concerts. So I wouldn't say that there's anyone in particular. I just love comedy, whether it's male or female. I just love to see people going for. I love to laugh. I love to make people laugh.
That's good. Oh, okay. So the same guest, the same viewer once this, he said that let me pull up the comment. He said she should do our next live podcast. We're looking for more women comedians. I agree with that D. We
That's
gotta
what's
have
up.
her on our
Hit me up.
podcast.
I got videos for y'all. Yeah, I got videos, stand up videos for y'all. I did some
Yes,
stuff
you
in
know I say
LA, the comedy store. So it was really I just love comedy. I love that black people we can pull from real life experiences and we can just relate and it lifts our spirits. So I'm all for it. Just hit me up and I'm with it.
I like to ask comedians this question. Do you remember the first joke you ever told? And was it a success?
um no, because I think I don't remember the first joke I told, honestly. My first stand up was 3 years ago. What do you say? What do you
He
say?
said, Chris saying another viewer, I'm your business partner in
Oh,
another podcast.
um, oh,
So,
he's like, stop playing me. So my first stand up was about
exactly.
3 years ago in LA at the Comedy Store. And this is funny too because I had never done stand up. I had taken classes before just because I'm that curious type of person. I always like to learn different facets of the industry and I always love comedy. But somebody hit me up in LA and they were like, yo, are you available to do 5 minutes? To do 5 minutes at the Comedy Store. And it was a producer putting a show together. And I was like, yeah, I had never done it before. I didn't tell him that because guess what? I was like, I'm going to get it together by the time it's time to do it. So I had a very, I can't, there's nothing I can't do attitude.
Yeah.
And it was so crazy that like nobody could believe that that was my first time doing stand up. And so after that, I was invited to audition for corporate settings like to tour and doing comedy, got sick. That's the only reason why I didn't go, is that I got sick. So I knew, like, I was like, okay, this is something that I can do. But I think all those years of watching,
Yeah.
and we don't realize that you really are studying and you really are learning the craft, that it was so natural for me when I did it, that it was like, that's what's up. So I'm definitely ready to even sharpen that and just put it. I look at Jamie Foxx. I look at him, as one, he's an actor. He's done the music side, he's done the comedy side. I look at those people that are multifaceted and I'm like, if they can do it, then I can too.
I agree. 5 minutes. I want to try it.
It wasn't. And
Just
it
trying to
really
think, man.
wasn't for me. Like it went by quicker than you would think. And you got that little light flash, and then like you
Yeah.
got 1 minute left, and I'm like, oh, it's almost over. Like it wasn't as long as you might think.
Now, a lot of comedians have been, been getting canceled. You know how do you tread lightly with your jokes, or you just like, I'm gonna say what I want to say? I don't care.
Well, I think a lot of my stuff is already clean, but here's what I have to say when it comes to comedy. Society has changed so much. And we're so sensitive now that, man, you look at stuff
Yeah.
that people were doing, like Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy and all of these people before. And it's like, now you say something that people don't like and they want to cancel. I don't believe in cancel culture. I don't believe in it, period. Because I feel like, who are we to tell somebody like you're canceled? That's just arrogant to me, period. Like, if you don't like something, you don't have to listen to it. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to watch it. But to say like you're canceled, I don't subscribe to that, because I don't feel like, I think you start getting into, I'm not God. I don't tell you what you can and can't do. You're grown.
Yeah.
I have a choice whether I want to entertain it or not. That's my take on it. But I'm pretty clean. So, and my stuff is pretty clean, period. But I'm also straightforward in what I want to say. So I feel like in anything, in comedy, in music, if it's something that I want to express, I don't want somebody else trying to put limits on me. Like, I'm gonna try to decide what I want to express. And if it's not for you, then it's not for you. But it's gonna be for somebody. So somebody else's style might not be my style, but I don't have to say you're canceled. Like, that's just not for me. So I'm gonna do what I gotta do, whether that's not entertain you or move around or whatever. But yeah, cancel culture is not. I really hate this whole cancel culture thing.
I agree with you on that. Cancel culture. I don't like it either. And like you said, you don't have to
Mm.
watch it. You don't have to listen to it. I agree with that 100%. Well, we're gonna get into your music video that you have. I
Okay.
do. So then make sure you stay tuned because we have more with Miss Natasha Shantel. You do not want to miss it.
I do. I
Shay, can you
do.
bring me your charger
Forever.
or the extension cord?
Forever. 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 Got me thinking about buying wedding ring. Got me thinking about an eternity with you. You do. Sometimes you know that you be testing me, but I know it's just love that's perfecting me. I know what you told me, I know what you showed me. I'm still riding with you even when the road gets bumpy. Oh, yeah, I swear, yeah. The good and the bad, the happy, to say the words. I you. The world got people thinking love's a feeling, but we know that feelings can be misleading. Love is a choice and I choose to stand next to you no matter what we going through. Will I walk away? Never. I love you today. It's you that I need. You got on me from now until eternity. The good and the bad, the happy and sad, the joys and the hurts, for better or worse. I do make this vow to you. I do choose to love you. The world don't understand why I'm taking your hand, but I'm gonna follow you and let you literally shake us. Everything tried to break us, been through the fires and the floods that couldn't overtake us. But here I stand, big part, be it sunshine or rain, and what we got is true. Forever me and you, and until death do us part. Yeah, I do, I do. Forever, forever.
Okay, okay.
Oh. Thank you for
I
playing
see you.
that. I thought rocking over there.
You
Let me find
yes.
out.
So when the song first played, I thought it was her name, Heather. What's her name? Heather. They sing that song. Heather. I can't think of her name. Her name is
Heather.
Heather something. She has
Only Heather I know is like,
huh?
you said you thought of another singer by the name of Heather. I was trying to think of who you were talking
Heather's.
about.
She had a song in my mind. Is it Heather Heatley? Heather something in my mind.
Heather Headley.
It's gonna come up. Huh?
Heather Headley.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up real fast. Her name is Heather something. She has a song called "In My Mind." She's a dope singer. And then when you bust out with the rhymes, I was
Yeah, kind of a mixture. It's a mixture, you know. I love hip hop. I love R&B.
yes.
So it's
I think it
like
was Heather.
Lauryn Hill's one of my favorite artists. So you know she got the rhyming and she can start flowing in the minute, and then she can hit them runs and hit the. So I love that. One of my
Heather
influences.
Headley.
Okay, yeah, Heather Headley. I've never heard that
Yes.
before. Yeah, where is Heather? Where is she at?
Yeah, that's what I thought about. And then the look, and then your look
Okay,
and
okay,
everything. I was like, okay, I see it. And then
thank
I was
you.
saying, yeah, I got the braids and the laid back vibe. So I was like, okay, I see
Hmm.
all that going on.
Yeah, thank you. And I do
But I
remember
like this. This
Heather.
is a nice love song. And you know what? I definitely could have played this song. I just DJ'd a wedding on New Year's Eve. So
What?
I do. I do.
Yeah.
But now I know. Now I have it in my playlist. So
Now
I'm
you
definitely
got
throwing
it.
it in.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
this is a
I would
nice.
love that. Definitely, definitely.
So what's the inspiration behind it?
I wrote this. I know everybody everybody thought I wrote it from personal experience. Although I am engaged. At the time when I wrote the song, I was not. So it was just like, I don't know. I love songs. So I wasn't in a relationship or anything. So maybe I spoke some stuff up. But
That's what I was
um
gonna say. You sung it into
yeah, I
existence. That's
sung
what it was.
it.
You
I
sung
wrote it, I guess. But at the time it
that
was
song,
like,
and your man came
no.
with it.
Yeah, so I'm always like, I always felt that was my lane. Like love songs and um just sing
Yeah.
about things that other people didn't talk about. Like, so I used to get in trouble. Like church people would be like, "You're not supposed to be singing that R&B," but like I always was drawn to R&B. The Whitney Houstons, man, I love me some Whitney. I love Anita Baker. Like those are the people that I was listening to, and they all sang love songs, you know. So
Yeah.
I just always wrote love songs. I just love songs. So I wasn't in a relationship. I wasn't any of that. That's just I feel like what's in me. I'm gonna sing about love, and I want to sing about love between people. Like I'm like, that's a thing too. Like we need something that we can listen to that's not necessarily, I feel like, raunchy all the time. Like I want sometimes us to just have something that we can play is like, I appreciate you, or I appreciate love, or I appreciate being in love. So yeah. I do came and I didn't release I do until I think 2 years after I had written it. So I was sitting on it for a minute.
I like that. Well, I like the
Thank
song. It's a
you.
nice little vibe, and I'm a sucker for R&B
Thank
90s.
you.
Really too. I love it. I love me so Whitney Houston. Dance with Somebody is my song.
Yes,
Jam out to
Whitney.
it
I love it. I love everything. Honestly, I'm telling you, I
all the
love
time.
everything
I love
across the
this.
board.
Yes. Well, thank you, Miss Natasha Shantel,
Thank you.
for being on my show. It's a pleasure to have you, comedian, singer, actress, and now rapper. Because I saw you spin the bars a little bit, like a little forward to,
I got bars.
you was like spin it, but you wasn't spinning it. It's like a poem. So I love it.
Yeah,
Well, before we let you go, let people know where they can check you out, so they can definitely
absolutely.
follow you.
So you guys can follow me. You can connect with me directly. I'm on Facebook at Natasha S. Houston Official. I'm also on Instagram at Natasha Shantel _. A lot of stuff is under construction right now, but we are building. So you can connect with me via Instagram. You can email me as well. You can check out the podcast, the Honey and Locust podcast. Is available everywhere where podcasts are, Spotify, everywhere. You can check me out there. But yeah, right now, socials, um, the podcast, you can share the music. It's on YouTube. The videos are on YouTube. Please, you can download the singles. They're available on iTunes, Apple Music, all of that stuff. You can download it. So I'm out here. And once you connect, stay connected because there's going to be some other stuff coming out released as well. And before I go, I also have coaching. If you know a young person that has an interest in the arts and entertainment industry, or they just love to perform, I work with young people on the side and help coach them with my business called Multicolor Coat Kids, for those kids that feel like, they got that personality to sing, dance, model, act. I work with them too, one on one, or we can do group sessions as well. So, yep.
Oh, nice. You hear that? So if anybody tuned in and you got some kids that want to model, act, sing, rap, dance, do all, or you think your kids are funny, Natasha Chantel would definitely help them
Right.
out the right path. I like that. We need that. We need
Yes,
more.
ma'am.
I like that. Well, again, thank you for being on our
Yeah.
show. I'm definitely going to keep I Do in my playlist, not only on my station, but like I said,
Thank
next week playing that
you.
song. I'm definitely in. And I'm gonna send this
Yes,
song to my
thank you
sister
so
who just
much.
got engaged. So I'm gonna send this to my sister,
Congratulations
and then she
to
might be like,
her.
"Yeah." I'm like, "You just." I'm definitely am. But thank you again for being on our show. We appreciate you. Make sure you go ahead check out her comedian, her being funny. Check out her acting skills and unexpected coming out this month. And everything else she does. So and the podcast too. So go ahead check out the podcast. You will not be disappointed. So there's something for
Yeah,
everybody. I like
that's
that.
right.
And it's your girl DJ
Thank you
Baby.
so
We
much
done.
for
We
having
gonna
me.
sign
I
out.
really appreciate it.
You welcome.